Good morning.
Yeah, I know.
Good morning and welcome to the Wednesday, April 29th Marketing Committee meeting for the Town of Bethlehem Industrial Development Agency. I am Chris Welch. I'm the chair of the Marketing Committee. We are meeting, as we always do, in Town Hall in room 101. We are open to the public and we welcome anyone to join us in our meetings. And let's see, our first item of business. Oh, yes, a quorum. We want to do a roll call. So I will start. Chris Welch, I'm the chair of the marketing committee.
Georgette Stephens-Altamari, committee member.
And we have Hogue on Zoom here, and I'm sure he'll be joining us shortly.
Brian Connor, staff to the IDA.
Kate Hedgeman, executive director and agency counsel.
Alexis Carlin, associate at Hedgeman Law Firm.
So we have a quorum. So our first item of business is the approval of the minutes from the February 2nd marketing committee meeting.
Any changes or anything?
I didn't
have any.
It was fine.
I'm happy to make a motion.
All right.
To approve, or do you motion and I second?
That's fine.
Yeah, do you want a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All right. And
aye.
All right, aye. Okay. So the approval of the minutes is done. So let's go to our two discussion items. The first one being the review of the market study RFP, which I know has been circulated around. I thought it was good. I didn't know if anybody had any comments or feedback on it.
Yeah,
Kate's done a lot of work on it.
Definitely the revisions. I know people have weighed in a lot. I think the only thing maybe might have been covered, but I wonder if we wanted to call it out, like a void analysis, right? Like what retail is missing based on what we have, so that we can help zero in on what retail we need. I also don't know, I know the Central Avenue Business Improvement District just did a whole leakage study to figure out instead of the tax dollars being spent in the city, it's going to such Colony Wolf Road. I wonder if that would be of value to us to think about where are our residents actually spending their money and why are they not spending it here? Those are the only two things that sort of came to top of mind.
What did you call that? A leakage?
Leakage.
Yeah, leakage study. That would also then probably go hand in hand with the void analysis, right? Of what are we missing here for services.
I kind of thought that was under examine which key businesses employ talent within the town, which is individuals living and working in town, in contrast to those living outside of the town. But I think we could
include that
absolutely.
Language,
yeah.
like void analysis, leakage, data. Yeah.
I hadn't had a chance to look yet, but I know we had a budget set aside for marketing.
We did.
And the only thing I would say, and we have, we can always appropriate, more or whatever we need. But the only thing I really like the way that this came together, and I really want to see us do it. But what the concern, I think, is to do all this.
Yeah, it's a large number.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, is there something we don't need, right?
Yeah.
That we could pare it down.
Or do a phased approach or something.
Yeah. Or is it, do we put the RFP out and ask for very specific bids on each section so that you could say, we're going to do this?
Or they would tell you, right, in order, if I did this study, it also gives you these couple of answers. Yeah, I don't disagree at all, because, right, you could be quickly over $100,000, right?
I'd love to get even just some of this data just to start. I think that.
Yeah. And then I wondered, for an RFQ, do you ask for the budget? I think usually you don't, right, in the first round, and then you interview people and then you ask for the budget? Because it's a request for qualifications, it's not a full RFP.
Yeah, I mean, I think technically that was the other thing I had, should it really be an RFP in order to get that? Because I think the cost is important.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spend another 3 months because this is already behind schedule waiting for that. So I think we change it to an RFP and then,
But let people propose parts of it.
Well, I'm looking at the,
yeah, cost proposal. See, there
Yeah,
is.
it's right in there.
So I think it's just semantics. We got to change it to RFP.
Yeah.
the
Because
cost should be broken
that was
out.
the intent.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's on page 6, number 7, cost proposal.
Chad, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I just think I like the idea of doing the leakage study to see where things are going, and also where the growth opportunities are. I know we're at a very early stage of talking about potential opportunities in Slingerlands, but I think there's
There's
some
value
gaps
for that.
in the town that I think we should also look at.
I mean, I know I just said about potential costs, but I'm not sure that we can get to a draft economic development strategy without doing the psychographic study and the market industry cluster analysis. What we might be able to do is put it out, see what comes back. You can always negotiate.
Yeah.
We could always, I think part of the interview and or discussion process is, we asked you for this, we understand that, but is there a better, more efficient way to do it? Do we really need all this stuff? And when we did the RFQ for the cost benefit analysis that we use, we did kind of take that approach in that, there was a cost, but then they said, if you want to do X, Y, Z, like an add-on or whatever, this is what that looks like. So, I think maybe we put it out as is, see what comes back.
Right.
And the only reason why, I guess, and it's funny because when we started talking about this back in last quarter of last year, we didn't have some of these other things coming up on our plate that, we do need a budget for. So, I think we just gotta watch that.
Does this have to go to the full board?
Not necessarily. I think we would share it. It would probably be in the next board materials, maybe with a report out from the marketing committee. So, usually there's no vote to send out. We'd like people to know what's going on and, that kind of a thing. I do need to revise the dates.
Right.
Because we're a bit behind here. So let's say, what's today, the 29th? Let's say we release this by next Friday? What is that?
The 8th, May 8th.
May 8th. And
So
we'll change it to
June
RFP.
5th. Yeah, but, well, so I guess I always back into it based on board meetings, right? Because I guess the board wouldn't necessarily, right, like when would the board approve it, right? So
Not next month. Next
it
month's a
wouldn't,
busy one, right?
well, June probably wouldn't even be able to be, unless we pushed it out, because you'll want to do interviews and then you probably want to have another round of, so you're not looking till July, right? Unless we moved the June board meeting back significantly. Because you need enough time to review the proposals, read them all, figure out who you want to interview, do the interviews, then discuss. So you're looking at least 3 weeks.
I think we should gear it towards a July. We usually have a July or an August.
Right.
So if we did July, that's fine.
Sure.
After, I think we're gonna have to move it though, because it's literally in the same week as July 4th because of the way the calendar falls.
Mhm.
So we might not have
Maybe
a
the
quorum,
8th
so
or
we
the
might need to
15th.
move it a little bit, but
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe July 15th.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, so then it goes out May 8th. Deadline for questions would usually be a week later. So May 16th. Questions,
do you
responses.
we sometimes on things like this, we'll do a like half-hour Zoom, like join, and we tell you what we're looking to do. And you can answer some questions too to potential respondents. It's a good way to learn who is interested also.
Okay.
I don't know.
No, it's
Like you could
good.
just describe, like, here's a
FAQ
project, here's
guidance.
where the town
Mhm.
has been, here's what we're looking to accomplish.
Let people ask questions about it if they need
Yeah.
clarification. Yeah.
Yeah, so we can do that. Let me look.
And then we should probably put a marketing meeting sometime around the response time, or do we need that?
Let me just pick a
Yeah.
date, pick a week for the conference, the online Zoom conference thing. So we got questions. 15th. Then we've got. So it would seem to me that we would do the session either the week of May 11th or May 18th, right?
Yeah,
Let's do it the week of May 18th.
yeah, and that way you make sure people have seen it.
We can do that all on Zoom.
Yeah. All right, and then the submission deadline, what, June 15th, somewhere around there?
Yeah, June 12th.
June 12th.
Oh, yeah, your challenge is then you're butting up against interviews the week of July.
That's a,
Yeah. Because, right, I mean, listen, if people want the job, they'll show up for interviews. But right, 4th of July is on a Saturday, so you're like, which week are people taking off?
Yeah.
The week before or the week after?
There's no way we can do the interviews closer to the last week of school time.
Oh, the week of the
Probably too tight.
22nd. So we're asking the 12th.
It would give us a week to review
Yeah,
before
and
interviews.
then maybe you do the interviews the 24th and 25th, or
I'm out. That's graduation, 8th grade graduation,
Oh.
and all kinds of stuff going on that week.
Okay.
But I wonder if the 29th and 30th is early enough.
well, if you put it in there, they'll make
Yeah.
themselves available, right? If
Yeah.
you say if you're selected to be interviewed for the 29th and 30th, and do we want to require in person or no? I prefer in person, but
Okay, that's fine.
I don't know if you'll have people.
Yeah, I
from
mean,
other
I
states.
suppose if, I'm not,
Maybe you could
I'm not
say
a big
in-person
fan of
preferred.
hiring someone outside the area again.
Hmm.
I'm just not, but, if, we want to, we certainly would have to do it via Zoom rather
Right.
than have them, let's say they're from Buffalo or,
Right.
We can say in-person
Preferred.
interviews preferred.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so just save June 29th, 30th
I may
is,
be out of town.
Oh.
but yeah,
All right,
we'll
that's
we'll
not
figure it out.
But you could zoom in
I
if
could
you,
zoom in.
yes, it's
I
not
could
a public
definitely zoom in.
session, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
The other thing is we'll need like a scoring, you guys put in the proposal of scoring, so we just need a scoring sheet so that we can show.
Yeah.
So as we each review them, then that we have documentation about how they scored. In case anyone asks.
But ideally, we could deliver something to the board in the July meeting timeframe. That's the goal.
Well, it would be July 8th, the meeting normally would be, but I'm not even in town for that. So we're probably gonna
We
have
already
to.
have it on the calendar on the 15th.
on the
That's what we
15th.
put for the,
I probably knew
Here,
that
it's
ahead of time.
calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So July
oh,
15th
you
board meeting. Okay. I think we can make that deadline.
Would you want to push it to the 22nd?
I suppose we could,
Because then that
but,
way, if
or
you
the
needed,
22nd.
yeah, if you needed an extra, because my guess is we'll need some time to negotiate as well once we've selected.
And part of it depends on how many applications we get and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, right.
The other thing I want to make sure, well, I suppose we could put that in the contract, but lately I've been seeing consultants drag stuff out and it drives me nuts. So I'd want something in the contract, and maybe we should mention it here, where we expect you to complete this in X months.
Mhm.
Like, we're not kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think
Is that one of
what you
the
wanna,
deliverables in
what you
the-
wanna be in a position to do is, let's say maybe by January 2027, that you have some things to do. You know, like we know where we wanna go with it.
Well, and the sooner we can get some of this data to the town too is useful.
Yeah, I mean, gratuitously, if a couple of the projects that are in my mind start to,
materialize.
yeah, you know, it could drive some of the, here's what we want, and if somebody's doing a mixed use with commercial on the bottom or whatever, we could say, listen, we want to help you attract this. And so that's really the value in all of this.
Do you
And I think
wanna-
Vista too is even
I think the idea of saying these are our priorities would be good, right? Like we want this data first. Does that make sense?
yeah, I mean, I think it has to do, like, corridors are going to be very important, I Slingerland's is kind of like a wild card. Like there's a lot of opportunity,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of constraints, and that's not a negative term, but it's just,
Yeah.
you have a historic district and, there's really only one way in and one way, or two ways in and two ways out,
Yeah.
Do you want to add to the format and requirements that they show you a work schedule?
Yeah, that's a
And
good way
then,
to put it.
And then do we want to put in there an expectation of no longer than 9 months for completion or something? I don't know.
It was. Right.
But right, they can sort of show you the workflow on it's a typical submission for
Yeah,
RFP.
it is.
So just add that to the format and requirements.
Timeline for it.
I know, Georgette, you've done some of this before. Like, am I nuts by saying like 9 months is too long? Like, I'd like to see this 4 to 6 months.
Well, I think you could say 6 months. They'll tell you whether it's doable or not, and I
Okay.
think your price goes up if you
Gotcha.
if you request quicker. And also they'll promise
Very
6 months
persuasive,
and then
though.
it's usually 9 months, right? Like but they can tell you whether they think it's reasonable or not.
Okay.
Or or they can phase it for you.
Okay.
I think that way they can do it.
Very impatient.
Chris, you just mentioned priorities. Do you guys want to rearrange any, like we have it set up as tasks and then deliverables? Would it make more sense to rearrange any of this in terms of priority, or do you think it's set the way it is?
We could probably put that in the contract, couldn't we? For
What?
the order of priority.
Order of the tasks
What
that
we
we,
want done.
I think it'll become clearer in
Yeah.
your interviews too,
Yeah.
right? Like based on, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, no, we don't, that isn't what we're actually talking about. We want this, right? And so I think the
Let them
language will
us.
develop in the interviews that
That
then
makes good
they
sense.
can come back with a revised budget and proposal. Right, because they'll be like, oh, you don't really use this information anymore. It's easier. Like you used to have to go by census tract, or they don't use census tract data, right? Like I think there's I think it will become clearer to us what we're really asking for as we interview the people, I think.
So one thought I had was, like, what do we want to do with the study once we have it?
Well, that's what I said. There's going to be a strategy that they're going to put together, and then I think, and and I don't know if you heard us because you were just actually coming in, but we were saying that we think doing it alongside of some of the other projects that are now coming to light, like it's going to inform, what do people want to see or what do we need in the town? So, I mean, I think part of it is to inform, and then what role do we play and Brienne's office play in helping attract those type of businesses? How do we work with developers that are doing a mixed use or doing commercial space and sharing that information so that, everybody wants their building to work, right? And if you want to put, a UPS store versus a restaurant, that might not, it might be more profitable to put a restaurant in there. So, I think we can use it to build relationships and, help an owner or potential developer attract
The right things.
Yeah. And it almost like plays out where if you kind of know what that is ahead of time and it goes to the planning board, there's less, well, we don't want self-storage or we don't, like there's less of that too. But how else, like what else are your thoughts?
I think there's another way we use it too. All these sites we just examined in the site study and looking at our industrial areas of town, the commercial area of town, and then the Vista area of town to incentivize the types of businesses we hope to see come in. This kind of activity and planning is really attractive because they see, oh, this town is thinking ahead and they want to plan these things and they're looking at secondary services. And then this is where we want to have a lot of employees because of all of this. At the moment, it looks a little sleepy, a little bedroom community-ish, which isn't always.
Doesn't agree with that, Steve.
I almost fell asleep in it.
I know, which isn't always.
On the way here, I almost-
John couldn't
Yeah.
sleep because it was too quiet.
Yeah.
We're from
My
the
hair
city,
growing.
so like.
So then, we get, we're limited to local interest.
Yeah.
Which,
I was thinking, I wonder, it would, I don't know if this has already been done, but like this idea of like, how competitive are we to our, against, who are we competing against, honestly, right?
And that's in here.
Yeah, and then what are the impediments to developing here?
Can I just take a look at that?
You want a copy of it?
Because what, a lot of what we're talking about, at least the city, is like, why won't developers choose here? And is it because they think it's going to be NIMBYism? Do they think, is it the town process? Like what is hindering here? And like, are our rents the right size? One of the things we're talking about now is like our retail spaces don't meet the current needs of retailers. They're either too big or too small, right? Like, so what are some of those things that we need to be thinking about? Do we need to be right sizing? Do we need infill? Do we, what is also missing in that space, I guess, right?
But it does. I was thinking about this the other day in the context of the city, not necessarily the town, but the shortfall of the sales tax revenue. So Albany County as a whole, like we're not bringing in, and is, same thing, because it does get distributed like proportionally. Right. And so that does have an effect on the town of Bethlehem or the city or whatever municipality that it is. And if you can't be competitive and attract that, and the city's in a rougher spot because of the exempt property, the percentage of that. But it kind of dawned on me that in the context of this, even for the town, you know, we're not going to attract a certain type of business or a large, you know, we just don't have the spot
Yeah.
necessarily for it. But we certainly can add, you know, John calls them amenities or whatever
Yeah.
that is, on a way that fits the town, and it is going to generate more sales tax revenue.
Well,
And
then
I
on
like the tying the void analysis to right sizing, because we don't have a lot of vacant space. As much as there are certain people who want to say, look at all these vacancies.
Yeah.
Like they're not available, they are in process, or there's other plans for them. And so it's very hard for a business who wants to come in to find the right kind of place. But then it's hard to get a developer or a builder to build it because they say, well, look at all this vacancy and we don't want to build something that's going to sit there vacant. But if we have that data
Yeah.
and that interest to show them, we can match those projects together more effectively.
I mean, you still even have tons of land and not tons, but on 9W, right, across from Walmart and where the gas station is, right? That could be massive sales tax generators, right? But just trying to understand what it is that we need in that space.
Well, I think one of the biggest opportunities in town is the Delaware Plaza area. And yep, they're trying to step it up, but like that could be a Stives, like you need to take it a little bit higher. It used to be, like I
Yes.
remember as a kid, the stores in there were much more like the stores that were in
Yes.
Stuyvesant. And we come all the way out here to go. But you know, it's across the street, and the connectivity of all of that. I mean, that could be housing / commercial and office, and then like there's so much opportunity there. But you know, in looking at what those buildings were priced for sale, you know, the one right up front, which I think it's $1 million plus just to get the building.
Wow.
And the reality is you're probably going to take it down,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And then the St. Peter, whatever that health building, the big one behind it, you know, so, but that's a huge opportunity. And, you know, then it becomes, how do you market that whole, you know, site?
How do you get people to look at an area as a project instead of a parcel?
Right.
Everything is so like, well, this one building or this one parcel, when really the opportunity is revising an area.
You gotta do the work for them.
And this is the first step of that work.
One other thought I had was for the deliverables was aligning the study with ESD. Because I know oftentimes we talk about ESD, we talk about, this community being more of a fluent community, but that I don't think that really still matters for the funds that ESD has.
Mhm.
And I think if, when you have the void analysis and the gap analysis and the vacancy study to understand why people are not doing business here or growing investment here, it's going to come down to subsidy. And so I was in a conversation with another group of developers, and like, for example, one of them is they're doing like a 300 plus market rate unit complex in Florida, and Florida's giving them the vote. Like, hey, you want money, you want subsidy, you want whatever you want.
Yeah.
Because the number to develop is the number to develop, and
Yeah.
the gap is the gap. It doesn't matter if you're in Albany, Schenectady, Troy, Fort Lauderdale. It's the same. And so that's what you're in competition with. You're in competition with investment dollars. And so all of the work isn't done. If you're not telling me exactly what the vision is and I got to figure it out for myself, I'm just going to go where they've done that.
Yeah.
And so, but also solving for subsidy. And if that's ESD, I think that's the easiest way. And I'll also say there's a handful of consultants that have been doing a lot of work for ESD for the region, maybe not necessarily for the town, but in the region doing a lot of work and connecting all of the incentives to those municipalities, right? And so,
How do we do that?
you gotta hire the right person.
We're going to ask in the interview how they're going to do that.
Yes, but
Well, you
they're-
did. You did mention, right, the tying to state funding. I think in
Mhm.
proposal, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's, you know, one, marketing, branding, right? The communications of the town has to be modernized.
Mhm.
The belief of what's going on here, that is open for business and is open for investment, but also there are, you know, centers of, you know, influence between
Yeah, right.
9W, the Glenmont, Delaware Plaza, ideally Slingerlands. Like we have these nodes all the way up to the town of New Scotland. Like we have these nodes of places where things are happening, but they're just not
Mhm.
cultivating themselves.
Mhm.
So someone's got to do it. We got to do it. But the state has to have a conversation with us around how we can help close that gap because
And I do have good feedback from ESD about why our New York Forward applications were not chosen.
Mhm.
It's very competitive, of course, but some of the weaknesses in them and how we can address that. So,
But I do think, you know, in part of this, getting, like, when's the last time, like, our office has been to the town for, like, a tour? Like, have they been on site? Have they been, like, looking around? Like, have we invited Heidi and Yevely and, you know, Landy
Right. Yeah.
to the town and say, hey, we need to do a tour. This is what we just did. You know, this is what we need
what's
to do.
available.
Right? We have owners who are ready to go. We have the town that's like, we're closing this up. Like, tell us what to do, basically. And then align all of those consultants with the ones that know exactly what funds and what layers to pull on.
So is there wording that we want to put in the document to sort of tie that into, or is that something
I think it's the simple like alignment with, you know, state
ESD goals?
ESD goals and
Mhm.
resources and,
Mhm.
you know, like, or some expertise at doing that. Maybe not necessarily saying that's what this, I don't
Yeah.
I
know.
mean, it's not a big
say-
shift. It's not a big lift from this, but it's how are we going to use? What's the
Yeah.
purpose of us commissioning this? It's that pathway.
Yes.
I wouldn't specifically say ESD, I would just say state, because right,
Yeah.
there's
There
HCR
could be
funding
other-
that you
Sure.
can do,
Yeah.
It's a ton.
right, National Grid.
National
money.
Grid. Yeah. There's
Yeah.
a few pockets of things, and you never know what the county's gonna throw out at whatever moment.
Yeah. I think in
I
that,
got so many, like, you know, I think the town of Bethlehem in particular, and maybe I'm just biased, but you have the opportunity to really, we already have like a world-class community, right? The school district, you know, even the historic districts are beautiful, you know, that kind of a thing. But it's, you know, you're not gonna attract the next generation of homeowners and, you know, not that it has to, you know, be Brendan would say popping at 2 a.m. in the morning, you know, that's not who we are. We'll never be that. It's no problem. But, you know, the kids need somewhere else to go other than the carols, like, you know, and they need it connected with sidewalks and, you know, so the town is really trying to do a good job with all of that, you know, and the rail trail and the connectivity on Cherry and, you know, so it's like you got to capitalize on what you're doing. And I think because the Economic Development Office has been so small, because it's a small municipality,
Right.
we haven't really been able to do much.
We're not punching at our weight class.
Right. There's just so much opportunity and, you know, it's going to take time, but I think this is really the start of that. And,
I think too, to your point, I think that what has been out there has been NIMBYism.
Yep.
Housing,
Right.
right, we stopped housing and there's a moratorium, so that's what developers think was
We got
last.
the
And
environmentals,
then
that's
the
where
whole
they all
farm,
live.
the farm, right, which we want to maintain land. But all three of those things make you think like Bethlehem's not interested in developers. And so we've
It told
got
a
to
certain story.
totally shift that,
Yeah.
which hopefully the industrial thing we just did.
The new zoning,
right,
once it's
like
approved,
hopefully
yeah.
that changes it, because I think just from headlines, which also are clickbait, like if you don't really read it, that's like the last 5 years feel like that's what Bethlehem has been saying, like we're not interested in development here.
Sure. And I think there's so many municipal leaders declaring emergencies or all these other things. And I kind of like what the message really, the messages coming from out of the city of Albany now are very good. But I think we could do the same thing, but I want to back it up first. Like I want, and then, David suddenly declares at a press conference, Bethlehem is open for business and here's why.
Here's what we're looking
You know what I
for.
mean? Like
Yeah.
rather than coming out first and saying we're open for business and then everybody being like, where?
Yeah.
Like, or what's the plan? Or you said this, so now what?
Right.
But there's a lot of good work I think that can be done to make economic improvements to the town that would only enhance it as a place that people want to live. And side by side with awesome parks and the different, there's something here for everybody, I guess. But yeah, I mean, if you want to go, it's 8:00 and you're on the way home from somewhere and you want to just go grab a drink, like, or socialize somewhere, like there's no, I mean, Uncommon Grounds looks great, but they're only open so late too. Like there's not even a place where you could get coffee and play board game, and it's a family town. So that's the other part of it. What are you doing with the kids? So no, I really think that this is the start of it. And that's why I'm kind of anxious to do it. Not like you drag this out for 12 months.
Just, you do have in here as evaluation criteria, schedule and completion date, so I think we can tie
Okay.
into that. Yeah.
Okay.
Do we need a motion or?
No, I just
Okay.
think, what we'll do is Alexis and I will work on a few of the revisions we talked about, maybe to circulate it one more time. But I'd like to get it out, next week.
Yeah.
I think Victoria, not only was, and Brienne too, like it was really thoughtful analysis. So I think I love how it turned out. We're lawyers. We just throw it down and like, needs to be massaged, but,
Kate, I have conflicting information here. So I have the deadline for questions is May 16th, and then I have the Zoom question and answer the week of May 18th. Are we tying those two together?
What one is for really written questions,
Okay.
like, because sometimes
We'll keep that.
people, the problem with the video alone is we're supposed to take the questions and publish the
Distribute
questions
them
and
to
the
everyone.
answers so that everybody can see them.
Right.
And if you're not at that session, so I want to take written questions.
Yeah. By the
And
before
then,
the session.
yeah,
Yep.
if the session, brings up other questions, then I think we would make the recording available,
Right.
like we would just
Research.
post
Yeah.
it and,
Okay.
say, hey, if you'd like more information and discuss what was discussed, here it is, we would have so yeah, I think
Keep
those
it
dates are still
16.
fine, yeah.
We ready to move on to the town board event?
Sure.
Okay, it's next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
The auditorium is reserved. We have 12 people registered at this point.
Where are they from?
It's a mix, a lot of library.
Good.
2 school board, 2 zoning, 2 town board.
Okay.
Kind of where we're at the moment.
We were thinking, by the end of this week, we would send out one more invite, like more
Yeah.
personal from, probably right from Brienne's email, because sometimes the constant contact, it could go to spam or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll make a push for that. What I wanted Victoria to weigh in on was, what does this agenda look like, right? And so I think at the very least, this is all subject to her agreeing
Yeah.
and/or, that she probably should do a welcome. The why are we here?
She does such a good job with that
Yes.
every time.
Yes.
It's
And then potentially, I'm sure she'll have some input into that, but I would talk more about what IDAs do. And I'm more on the, the tax incentive side and all of that. But I think we should also mention that we're really expanding the role of the IDA that traditionally played from a very general sense. And we've done the industrial study, which I think Brian's going to talk about that in particular, and then maybe some of your stuff, how we're going to look at the economic
I
development.
mean, it all
piece.
flows, right? The comp plan was done. There are goals in the comp plan that direct economic development activities. The site study met one of those recommendations. Revising or recreating an economic development subcommittee to look at the economic development strategy of the town is directly out of the comp plan, which is what this is moving us towards. So I think sharing that with all the boards is really helpful. It's like, we're not doing this as, we're not like Wild Westing over here. Like, we just want to do this without all of you. Like, this is clearly part of the growth of the town, the plan of the town. It's tied to the comp plan. And having a revised vision for the economic development of the town, it's important that all the boards understand it and are on board with it and assist in moving it forward, especially the planning and zoning boards. If they aren't on board with the development efforts of these initiatives, that's really challenging. But the school too, and the library too, it's like,
lately I've been on this connectivity kick about connecting all the dots, but I forget what I was reading. Municipalities have, most municipalities have real significant financial issues. And even, though we might, break even or we do okay here, whatever the case may be, if you can't attract business to have the sales tax come back to the community, and if you can't get people to live here and to spend the money, you're not going to have the tax base to support the excellent school system you have. Like, a lot of this is all at stake for generations to come, because government is not going to be sustainable with rising costs and different things without being able to levy and raise the revenue. And if you're going to do a pilot, you need to be very thoughtful about it for a lot of different reasons. But, and you have to be able to do this, because if you just sit there on your hands, and that goes for any municipality,
Yep.
that, it's going to go down the tubes. So, I think one of the messages is, yes, we have all these great tools, pilots, sales tax, mortgage tax. And if used wisely, they can be great tools to attract a business that will have a significant tax impact for sales tax coming back to us, and also generating real property. A commercial real property rate is higher than a residential tax rate. So, if we were talking to a group of just community folks, I don't know that I get in the weeds, but, the town board understands that, and it's all planning type municipal folks that, that has to be, all this has to be connected in a way that it makes sense. And I just don't know these days if people are really connecting those dots.
Mm-hmm.
And that, we're spending our money trying to,
Build that, yeah.
Or also, I think, using each other as resources.
Yes.
Like, there is so much experience and knowledge and depth on all of our boards. And if we know each other and use each other, and people are more engaged beyond just their isolated role as a whatever board member, it benefits the town as a whole.
I think that's a huge part of it, is we want to hear back from them as well. What are you looking for from us? And what are the things that, other than, don't give tax breaks, is there something that, right? I mean, so are we going to have a open?
Yeah, I think after, that, and I think the first thing we'll probably do is introductions, and then leave some time afterwards just for general social conversations, to get to know people. All right. Trying to think of what else.
That's probably it for that event. Have you heard from anyone in our group that is not going to be there?
No,
Do we have
I'll probably have to
confirmation
send
for
a.
us?
I'll send a
Yeah.
email out, or you'll send an
I'll
email
send
out
an
and
email
just
out,
say, we just wanted to see who's going to be able to attend next week.
I think Dick is away.
Yeah,
This
he
month,
is.
yeah.
Are we doing a slide deck or no?
Maybe.
Maybe.
What if we need one?
Oh, speaking of slide decks, that was the other thing I wanted to. We got to figure out technology. I know we've got a lot on our plate, but it's just really important.
So I just finally got the vendor names that the town
Oh, cool.
used for the auditorium and also for the Delmar EMS.
Mhm.
There's like,
Oh,
I guess
yeah.
the town owns the building and Delmar EMS is the tenant, and they just redid their whole room and it's nice. So I'm supposed to go look at that room, talk to that vendor. So there is some action there,
Okay,
but it's
okay.
just, yeah, amidst everything else, it's,
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think that's a really, having the tech, I mean, even this meeting we had last week, we had 3 people sitting here that couldn't, just, we need that, that better geometry to be able to present things and have the cameras.
Is there a status update on Hoffman?
is there what?
On Hoffman site, the car wash, anything going on with that?
Nope. It's on pause. I mean, what is happening is that National Grid is relocating their poles because of concern for the safety of the site. And so if you've seen they've actively been reworking what they have going through that site.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
So it's National Grid moving things so that they don't fall off the ravine someday.
I don't know, that's tough. Like, that's going to be tough to stabilize. It has been for years, expensive. So.
And if National Grid feels that
Yeah.
their data has informed them that it was time to move things, then there's significant concern.
Yeah, because now I wind up getting my car washed on the way to college. I kid you not.
I do.
On a
Hoffman's
deal
is
we did over.
actively working towards another site, but they're not working with me on that. So I just am hearing about it. So
We were talking about Hoffman car wash.
I wouldn't be surprised if they moved in like 9W or something.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all the land over there, it makes sense.
All right. Do we have anything else?
I just wanted to share this with you guys. This is like sort of my little start of deliverables for the Vista marketing materials. So on the back is kind of what I'm envisioning as far as like what I think we need from that. I know.
Fancy,
So-
fancy. I like it.
We don't have to necessarily like take next steps or digest this all at the moment, but I think that this is what I'm looking for.
Is this, are you asking for some type of cost share with the
Yes.
property owners?
Yes.
Okay. Because I want to make sure they have at least a little bit of skin in the game.
Yes.
Yeah, I think, it's sort of like revising this, making sure this is clean, and then convening the property owners and any brokers that they've retained to sit down and talk about this together and make a group plan and say, the IDA will assist,
Yeah.
but these are your properties and, also like, let's work together and make this effective.
Was there any movement, how the piece reverts back? Has that reverted back, or
No.
do we need to talk potentially about
My understanding is just kind of in no man's land right now because Dr. Jones does have to take action to.
Technically, yeah.
And there's,
Why don't we talk to him
Mhm.
sooner than later?
Yep.
Great, this is great. Did y'all already talk about the event with the?
Yeah.
You're gonna be the lead speaker.
Perfect.
That's all.
That's what happens when you leave the room. You guys stop doing everything. I know how that works.
You-
You're the
Yeah.
first one on the talent show.
Yeah, bring your guitar.
We have a whole slide deck and video.
I mean, I imagine, right, it's you and Victoria, so I'll do whatever you need. Just sit there and talk to people. And so it's just town board folk, right? Not like the Bethlehem Chamber or anything.
It's not the chamber, it's just boards. So there's zoning board, planning board, town board, library board, school board.
Oh, that's great.
And then we also invited the steering committee that just created the historical,
Yeah.
I forgot the word doesn't want to come to mind, but there's going to be a historical board, but at the moment it hasn't been appointed yet. So
Oh, boy.
we invited the steering committee. We imagine some of them will be some of the first appointees on
That's
that
great.
board. So
Do we have designated historic districts, like
they're
federally,
not federally, no.
state,
State. I think the Slingerland's historical district is
Slingerland
state.
is.
but it's not federal?
It's
I
not.
don't think so.
I don't think it's federal. It's kind of it's
You would need that if you're gonna do housing and stack credits.
it's like
Depends
in
on where
nomine.
you
Sure.
Um,
There is
You
a,
can't do
District.
Ground up.
there is, we should tell him about the school, the building, the other one.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
I mean, if there's a school, yeah, all day.
Well, it was a school, right?
It was, yeah.
All right.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, there might be other reasons why it might want to be, you know what I mean? A
Yeah.
federal, depending.
But you can put the building itself on the registry, I mean.
Right,
if-
right, right.
Oh,
if
yeah,
the
yeah.
district is
And
existing,
there's
it's just easier. for the
Many
investment.
buildings on the registry.
Mhm.
The historical, I want to call it like the historical law, but that's not like what the
Historic preservation.
The historic
Yeah.
preservation law for us that is being enacted, it delays demolition.
Mhm.
So, but it doesn't have other requirements about building or
Right.
preservation, or you have to use these vendors or like
Right.
some,
It's more like design
right,
intent.
Right.
Than it is. It's like
Well,
not
you
gonna
would
put
think the planning board
six-story
would,
building.
you know, you have to make it work for the planning board, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So they're gonna come in and look at that.
right.
You know,
More of like a design
apply.
control.
Yeah.
Than it, because there's no other benefit.
And documenting
Right.
for history sake, preservation, documentation.
I mean, technically, anything 50 years or older is technically historic. So.
But 100 years is
100
the
years
registry.
is the registry, yes. But, there's, I think it's 50 or 70 years older, there's like,
There
could
could be value.
there's historic significance that may have to be maintained. I'm dealing with that on the property right now.
Mm.
With the Sunshine School, it's like the addition has no value, but, if it's 70 years old, you have to consider it.
Mhm.
And spend money, asking the federal government not to include it. But anyways, that's my story.
the only other thing
I think I just need to nail Victoria down on a real conversation about it.
We gotta pull a budget.
Yeah, I
Your
was gonna
budget.
say, I was thinking, because I thought at
Um,
one point, didn't we have a conversation about, I don't know why this is sticking in my head, but like $100,000, like for overall sort of marketing stuff. but between some of the things we're talking about, I
Mhm.
imagine we're already over that.
Mhm.
And so before we approve anything, I almost feel like I'd want to see where the RFP comes in.
Yeah, so let's pull the budget. And I know usually Dick will want finance to meet in July. So it's kind of like that halfway checkpoint. So if we wanted to make a budgetary amendment or, you know, a proposal as to why we want to increase it, you know, I think that's the time to do it.
Does Victoria or you have discretionary approval for what she needs for the?
For the
CRM?
CRM, probably,
For the,
yes.
yeah, for the less expensive one, which I think is perfectly fine for what I'm asking for. I don't think that I don't know if you guys want to.
Yeah,
See.
since it's her
Did you
technical.
guys see the stuff on this with the CRM?
So I just sent it
Okay.
to Victoria and Kate, and then you and I talked about it.
Just figured.
There are bells and whistles where you could track your projects and stuff to add to it, but when Brianna and I talked yesterday, we thought, you know, for the number of projects that we do, it's very small and, you know, we don't do a ton with the data anyway.
Is that a one-time or
That's
annual?
annual. That's annual.
And so is the thought that it would become part of the IDA budget annually, or would the town take it on in year 2?
Oh, no, the CRM, it
Yeah.
would probably be our contribution.
Part of our annual.
And one of the things that I didn't understand that you and I really got it down is that these companies generate a whole lot of data, public data about the businesses that are in the town. And so when she gets the solution, it would have all of the
They feed
contact
the
information,
CRM with
pre-populated.
CoStar and
Yeah.
So
you know,
as
all those
opposed
databases.
to somebody having to go out and knock on doors and like generate this data, it would, you know, some of it would be in there that would be helpful.
Right. It gives me a big step forward
Right.
from what I have in spreadsheets right now.
So, all right.
I mean, especially if there's value to, you know, other municipal activity or even the chamber.
Mhm. And
Have you talked to
I've
them
talked
about
with the
these?
chamber and actually have a meeting with them because they have their own tool and it doesn't get fed with data right now, but they've been very protective over their list. They don't want to share their list with me, but then they're calling me and wanting my list. And I'm like, hey, you guys, if we want to share lists,
Right.
you know.
Right, it's gotta go both ways.
Yeah, it's got to go
Yeah,
both
yeah.
Is
ways.
the name of the program Implant?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's not.
No, I just, because we did have a partnership
Right.
with them
Right.
previously,
That did not go
and it had nothing to do with the chamber, but
Right.
the program was not good.
Yeah. I've seen that in
Okay.
historical documents. No, I mean their CRM tool is chamber specific. It's chamber master, and they
Yeah, membership.
Yeah.
probably driven.
it's membership driven. So it's a different tool.
Yes.
Their list is a different,
Different
kind of
outcomes that they're
list.
trying
It's
to
also
get.
they have many businesses that are not located in Bethlehem. The chamber's scope is not
Yeah.
limited by the physical boundaries of the town. So
But
so
from
it's
a-
different, but there could be some real benefits to sharing the lists. And I think there could be some benefit if the chamber wanted to contribute a little bit to this,
Right.
to have more access, because I can have other
Yeah.
logins and things.
That makes sense.
But one of the things that David and I had talked about a year ago was that he struggles to get outreach to people in the town. And this is a great way to provide contact information for outreach. And also, in terms of deal flow, we could be putting out and saying, the IDA is here. If you have a project, come to us. I think it's a great thing. So anyway, anything else?
What do we want to do as next steps for the Vista? Do we need to put a budget around this? We need like around all these things. I mean, we won't know till we get the RFP back exactly what that, but I think we can map out these other things pretty easily.
Are you doing, probably, I don't know what the town procurement or the IDA procurement is, but it might be small enough that you can just ask for 2 or 3 price quotes for this one.
Yeah, I
Yep,
think,
yep.
yeah, 15,000's gotta go out to bid.
Yeah.
But anything lower than that, we would just follow the disposition, or the
So you have some
procurement
people you
policy, I'm
wanna
sorry.
get pricing from?
I don't know yet because I would like to kind of convene the owners and their brokers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been the brokers that have managed us before, and 2/3 of that is what a broker already does, but it might not take into consideration the parcels that they're not responsible
Right.
for, or the overall master plan, or, so it's really like, we're almost like the project manager and we're the last in funding. And they need to come to the table and consider their first in funding, so.
Who owns the rights to Vista Park? Like the name, the branding, the concept? Is it just the owners?
Well, the town board created the master plan.
Okay.
And the master plan is what named it Vista.
So then technically,
It's law, technically.
it's a law.
Yeah.
So technically,
It's a special economic district.
sure.
Yeah.
So if the IDA wanted to, it can just take it over and just drive it.
We could just market it based on the master plan.
Yeah, I mean, I almost, but there is a component with the current tenants, owners, where maybe we just, where it starts is we go back and we show them that nice thing you showed us with, like, we contemplated a hotel and we contemplated housing. Just to be like, okay, can we reimagine this? How do we help you? What do you want to do? Like, what, and some of it may very well be, there's portions of it that can be developed, could be considered for us to get site control if it made sense. There are, pieces to all of that. We got to pull the budget, and then we have to ballpark, just to get a larger number for probably a budgetary amendment.
Yeah, I wonder between now and our June meeting, if you can pull these guys back together, and then that would help give us understanding of, are we on the hook for 100%, 25%, what does that look like?
Okay.
And then the CRM will have already moved forward, right?
Well, hopefully,
yeah. And then we'll have the RFP responses back. So we'll at least know a ballpark of pricing in June for Dick to then, before the July board meeting, have some idea of what budget we're looking at.
I think the only comment I would have on this, I'll just make it quick, is, obviously these people want to develop this property. Like the brokers want to be doing it. And I just want to make sure that we're not sounding too much like, this park is underperforming, like it's on you guys. Like, I think we should listen to why, when we're having that conversation, like what their perspective is on it, right? And they may say, we've tried this and this and this, but, because obviously they want these properties filled, right? I mean, they're not sitting there.
It does go back to the vision, though.
Yeah.
And so there would be, and it doesn't mean we have to do it, but I think that there's a role for the IDA.
Oh, of course.
And what that is, hey, here's the plan, what was contemplated, just like as a reminder. We want to come in and, maybe we're the conduit through which the entire parcel attracts. And yes, there are spokes in the wheel with their realtors or their various people that are involved, but somebody's got to drive that, because there's a lot of members on the board that have experience with this. Trying to sell one parcel
is really hard.
And none of the parcels are that big.
Right. So,
Plug took the big chunk. So,
But just to make sure we're not going in there and saying, you guys didn't do a good job, so we're taking it over. think
No,
that's,
I don't think that
yeah.
that's the
No
message
one I'm
at all.
asking to the table except for Dr. Jones, who I haven't met, have I not already
Okay.
talked to, and we're
Yeah.
already
Yeah.
talk
On
about what
board.
the
Yeah.
barriers are there and why things move
Yeah.
or don't move, or what the interest is and
Yeah.
not. And
Well,
so
I mean, it sounds like,
these are known barriers.
I mean, just, you know, it wasn't until recent that I even knew that housing or other uses on the site were even applicable. So there's that.
Right, wow.
And I think branding wise, it's like just a tech park. Like, I don't think people want to live at a tech park.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So there's just that.
Yeah.
And then if there's multiple brokers for multiple small sites, that doesn't work either, because
Right.
no one's
Yeah.
gonna do the work.
Yeah.
So it just needs to be like one plan,
Yep.
one team
Master.
driving.
One throat to choke, one point.
That's-
That's it.
Thank you. I
the
was,
goal,
you
yeah.
were looking at your phone, so I wasn't like, come on.
No,
Like,
I was listening.
I was like, there's people on the board.
Yeah.
That's you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and, you know, people who do this.
I heard you.
So, you know, I think you're right. And I know Brianna and I have talked about this. Like, we're kind of like, let's go, right?
Mhm.
And it does. It has to be reimagined
Yeah.
in a little bit. And, you know, what that could be is just Vista. Like,
Vista development.
Housing and,
or
plug is
Just
there.
park.
Or change the
Just a
I,
park.
or
Just a
change the T to an I and call it the VIP place, right?
Yeah,
Vista Interconnected Park, like, I don't know, but like,
no,
I live
but,
at VIP.
Yes.
Like, I'm a
Yeah.
VIP there, like, I
But
don't know.
that's-
like,
you know,
Right.
we go to other parts of the country, and it's where people live, it's where they work too, it's where
Right.
they have their dry cleaner or their bagel
Right.
shop or
Yeah.
I
what.
mean, it's easy.
A
Like-
hotel for,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we're in the hotel,
Sure, but-
like, we could sustain a hotel
I mean,
here,
you can
but,
do a boutique spa thing over there in Vista,
Oh, yeah.
like Vista Spa, like, there's already a massage place over there, so like,
oh, something like that,
And then
absolutely.
to- yeah.
spa with like 10
Yeah.
rooms, like, it doesn't need to be this, 50-year, but
Mhm.
to the point, I mean, you're right behind a grocery center, you're right behind a strip mall, right? Like, the trail, the trail is over there, like,
Mhm.
it's in the right
executive
spot.
housing.
Right,
Yeah.
and easy
Yeah.
access to.
Now we have the
Highways,
Cherry Ave
right.
Trail.
The highway's
so it
right
connects
there.
Right over to the rail trail. Mhm.
So it's a perfect destination to develop.
Mhm.
Similar in Albany, I say Albany needs new neighborhoods. Well, so does the town of Bethlehem.
Yes.
And the neighborhood can be a mix of things. It doesn't necessarily need to be just a plot of houses,
Mhm.
because that's not necessarily a neighborhood either. And so to recreate a walkable destination in the middle of the town, it's new, Vista, branded well, I think it will be very attractive. You do the mix of multifamily, townhouse, condo, it is so.
And there are a lot of developers who would do that.
All
Yeah.
that,
Sure, the numbers need to work, but with
Yeah.
all the tools that we have, for that, it's entirely possible.
Bethlehem pencils, that's not the problem.
Yeah.
Right, and when I say,
For housing.
for housing, it
Yeah.
pencils.
Mhm.
Retail is a different thing because it's all car driven, so then you need land and land costs, and then that doesn't pencil.
Mhm.
But if you start densifying things
Mhm.
and make it more connected,
One of the things that works so well in the city of Alexandria in Northern Virginia, and like
Yeah.
20 years ago when I was there, it wasn't, they have their trolleys,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? And that's how you kind of get from pocket to pocket, and it's free, you know what I mean? And that, yeah, we're not there yet, but I guess it's so interesting because I think the comprehensive plan as it is, to your point, is living and breathing, and it's general enough that it does allow whatever vision the town people have. But I think there's this whole, even the parents, like when we go to school and we talk to each other or whatever, there's a 30 to 55 group now that has a very different, like, yeah, we don't want to go crazy, but we could do this and we could do this. And
we just put into the lottery, so.
Mhm.
So
all right, you're in. And I think, I mean, that's the pre-K is huge,
Yeah.
even though it's limited, but, and that's the other thing. I know the school district would love to be able to accommodate anybody that, they could, but again, cost, where would you put it? I mean, school's out for a decade has been looking for a new spot, and it's just so
Tried to
difficult.
pull multiple of those kinds of providers into the ShopRite building
They
to
want to be
offer.
central in town.
Yeah,
Because
I know.
everybody's got access.
So is that available?
Yeah.
ShopRite's available,
Well, Price Chopper has the lease,
but will they play ball?
yes,
And they would just want to control the tenant. They don't want a grocer in there.
correct.
Basically what it is. I mean, I'm pretty sure, yeah, it makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, I even our IDA board is very progressive, pro balanced development, and it's going to be a little bit of a shock and awe, I think, at first, to some of the things, we would be moving to do, but that doesn't mean, people should have input and it's going to turn out well.
It helps when you have materials like this that can give you a little snapshot of concept. People can start to visualize it. When you don't have that, and then it just sounds scary, like, oh, these buildings are going to go up, you're going to bring in all the stuff.
We also discussed, I think it might have been off in a meeting, something we did. At some point, we might want to consider, and this is in the talk for the budget, Brianne and I are busy, obviously. She's got a whole other life on the planning side. We may need to hire like a part-time consultant to help her handle some of the marketing stuff. And actually like carry it out. So we did talk about that briefly and what that would look like. Because once all this gets going, like even for me, like this is a lot, and I'm happy to do it and I love to do it. But I just want to make sure we're going to be able to make things move rather than.
To your point, I guess, is the concern at all that if we get some of these projects moving, does town have capacity to process them?
Right.
And is that a conversation that the town's having as well, budgetarily? Because, we can get this stuff going, but if there isn't internal capacity.
Well, that's what I'm saying. As far as the communications, marketing, and the tasks, I think, we certainly could support that.
Yeah.
And then it's driven by Brianne's office and with our input and all of that. Because that's kind of what we were talking about, is something, it's very specific to this.
Yeah.
And it's the busy work. You know what I mean?
And then just having a way to get the messaging out consistently through the right channels. That's the part I don't always have time for.
So the content.
Yeah, I mean, social media, one of the things I jotted down is we haven't done a lot of that yet, but now we've got the industrial study. And, Melissa, who does our web and stuff, she's just waiting for content, but it's like, we got to get it to, you know what I mean? So even if it's a young college graduate or something, or, someone who wants a part-time job that does marketing, I think it's definitely specific to marketing.
And then the town is still working to build a communications position. And we currently have a communications contractor. We probably will have a contractor for another year before we can build that position into the budget. So.
So is it possible to, again, I'm kind of going back to taking over Vista and just using.
Wait, just so we're clear on the record, we didn't say we were taking over.
No. I'm just saying in terms of driving it and just like.
Yeah.
Like.
A concerted effort at marketing, yes.
Not just marketing, but is it even worthwhile to have like a committee?
Sure.
You and Rob and and others from different parts of these boards that we are going to be meeting with next week to, have a, hey, let's drive this thing, not take it over, but drive it in a way where it's, use it as the case study pilot of like how you actually do economic development and leverage all the resources through state, through other parts, and bring the players to the table to just drive it. Even the county, right? And so I think, that would be a good example of like what can be accomplished. Because I think as you get into more of those, other nodes of the town, right? Like if you go to the border of New Scotland, or if you're in the Selkirk area, or if you're in Glenmont, or if you're in Delaware Plaza, like that's a whole nother ball of wax. Like over here, it's just kind of open land.
And we already have a plan.
You already have a plan.
We already have approvals. We already have infrastructure. Like,
and you already have the idea in support of it. So there are those things that need to be utilized. It's kind of like, in process. And so I think that could be one of the opportunities. Just, okay, we're putting resources behind it. We're going to have this, that, third. Let's put a committee together, get the owners involved. I'm pretty sure all those broker commitments are probably expired by now. Find a broker that understands and gets it and just drive it. Because we're in a good market for things. I think there's an appetite for the town. I think people just need to know that the town is serious. So I think if externally people see that, and then there's a focused effort on that, layered in with whatever support we can get, I really believe that people will come out to participate.
There's an argument to be made, and it's not just Vista, it's our whole area and different things that are going on. But things have changed so much that, 10 years ago, we all kind of said, oh, this would be great, right? And that's kind of the vein every municipality gets in. Okay, we're doing this. And then so many things change. The cost to build changes. The technology bubble pops, or, clean energy all of a sudden is, maybe that wasn't a good idea for the state to force it so quickly, or whatever that looks like. It's really like, okay, let's pause, because now we've got all these pockets of things that it's just not working. So now it's like, what's the next thing? And don't pick something else that's not sustainable.
Right.
Having XYZ come in sounds great, but at the end of the day, if no one's going to support it, right? You want restaurants in Bethlehem, you need to go to restaurants in Bethlehem, right?
Yeah.
So,
and the style of consumption has changed, right? Like I'm not going to go grocery shopping and then go to like the restaurant. That's just not how my life is set up.
right.
May I go to the grocery store after the restaurant? Yeah, but like I need a little bit of something else. And so I think that's where I feel like, to the point of like a Delaware Plaza is kind of interesting. You're not going to get the connectivity at a Glenmont because it's just like, it's really transactional. So those things are missing. I think Slingerland's Plaza is kind of like midway, because you have more of a, you have outdoor seating, like all that stuff is going on that doesn't exist elsewhere in the county or in the town. And so just from a experience standpoint, if you can drive somewhere to park and kind of like do three things that are not just transactional, I think you have win. To your point on, how things have changed, I think anybody making large scale investments right now want, to whatever degree, future-proof investments as possible. And so obviously living anywhere where people are living and or working, people want to invest. And the challenge right now is we don't really have that combined outside of this one. And so not to continue to make a push there, but I do think that is the most significant thing that the town is sitting on. And I think it's arguably one of the most significant things in the town that is not being, is the underutilized asset that I think there can be a lot of support for. But it's got to be orchestrated. It can't just be, because if you wait for a land developer to come in, they're gonna be trying to put a data center there.
Yes,
Like,
with 4 employees.
yeah, with 4 employees and.
Right.
Well, we got a
terrain on
spot
the
for
grid.
that too, but it's not
It's
Vista,
not Vista.
you know,
But those are the people who are looking for property right now.
yeah.
Because they have capital, there's an interest for it, so I'm gonna look for that.
But I think I'm going to channel my inner Georgette, because you had this conversation
Everyone's got an inner Georgia.
Enter Georgette.
last, a couple meetings ago. I think it's great that we're working on these projects and trying to contribute funds to build this, but a part of this is deal flow, and the deal flow has to bring in the money to
Sure.
refill these coffers. And so
Absolutely.
whatever projects we're working on are going to need to have that aspect as well. I think,
I'm
And
not
this-
prepared to discuss that yet, but I
Right,
have a
but-
little.
yeah.
And also, I
Application
mean-
fees go a long way.
Yeah, while we need the big RFP that we're working on, that's like a step before, this one can directly get us
Correct.
projects.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
This is ready to go.
Deal flow.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing that we need is deal flow.
Can I go back to what you said, because, and you said, right, you said things are changing so much. I think I agree with you about bringing in maybe even CEG, ESD, Albany County Alliance to like, right, you think you know, but like you haven't been in
You
3
don't.
years, so you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I totally forgot this
Yes.
was here or
Yes.
whatnot.
And that's low
To-
cost.
Right, to be like, here's the
Mhm.
4 main sites we're looking at,
Mhm.
and we want to make sure that you're aware of what we have.
Yeah.
Here's what we're thinking of doing. Maybe they might be willing to partner. Like I know the County Alliance partnered with the port on an economic impact study, and so they paid for some of it. CDRPC, I think, paid for some of it. Like, so there's other, like, we don't need to necessarily foot the bill, and we need that other people have skin in the game, so that they're as interested in its success as we are. And so I think there's some other people like that. I mean, every time we bring people to the port, they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize,
We're sending, Brianne's gonna go, we just asked the board members if they wanna go to Port Day,
Oh,
because we
we're
thought it was
sending, yeah.
important.
Mhm.
Important. I can't go that day, but,
It's a
I'll try
really
to
good
make it.
event. It's a great event.
um, but yeah, it looked very, very interesting, and, that's the thing, that, there is so many good things, like sometimes I get so bogged down by the heck's going on here,
Yeah.
right? I think we all do, but like the port is definitely one of them, and, we have a great opportunity even with the Albany County Airport,
Yeah.
so,
And,
I'm a big fan of that. Don't ask me what kind of things I looked at that can take off and land there.
see, this is another thing.
yeah.
We were just talking about.
Yeah, let's take that
Let's
offline.
conclude the
So-
meeting.
Yeah. So,
Conclude the
any other business?
No, great meeting though. I'm very excited
Yeah.
that we have some actionable, moving things forward. Piloting, always good, great start.
So I will take a motion to adjourn.
Wow, motion.
Yeah, I'll second.
I move it.
All right, we are adjourned at
9:55.
9:55.
All right. Thank you.